basically how narcissism is formed, which is pretty much how codependency is formed. It's a reaction to any breach of emerging boundaries of the child. This happens in childhood. So you want the anatomy of a toxic relationship, we have to go back to childhood, okay? And any breach of an emerging boundary, when a child can't separate from the parent without a punishment or a consequence because the parent is dealing with their own insecurities and abandonment wounds, we have the makings of narcissism. So we have, on one hand, when you spoil and idolize and pedestalize and instrumentalize the child, or parentify them, you know, and you were like, hey, you were the oldest, for example, out of 6 kids, and you were expected to take care of everyone, and you were, you know, instrumentalized, or you were parentified, or you had to take care of the emotional needs of the younger ones because there was 12 of you that around, and it's just your parents didn't have time. What happens is the child can't really separate from the parent when that happens. There's a boundary, and the child does not have an ability to create a firm sense of self, right? Or if the child has been, you yourself have been sexually abused, physically abused, psychologically abused, using shame. Shame is a form of psychological abuse. Stop crying, or I'm going to give you something to cry about. That's a form of psychological abuse. It creates within the child a defense mechanism. When the child has this, it's a solution to this deep rage. And the child basically creates this private kind of relationship and an imaginary universe out of everything to deal with their shame. This grandiose, this false, brilliant, perfect, lovable, grandiose, false self, right? And the message the child gets is that love is conditional as long as they show up as this false self. So you get rewarded for this false self, the true self goes away, and this is the makings of where narcissism happens.